Hey, we have a special guest today. It's a special treat today. Joybringer Phil Kvamme is back, and it's been about 6+ months since we've talked last, Phil. How are you? And welcome back.
6 months. I was trying to remember how long it had been, and all I could remember is that I couldn't remember what we talked about last time. But
Oh,
I remembered it was fun.
Oh,
well, I was gonna say, if you didn't hear our last episode with Phil, we'll have it in the show notes so you can listen.
yeah, it was
Okay.
hilarious. Yeah, you don't want to miss that one. So tell us where you're at right now, Phil.
Well, I am at a little landing called Bishop's Point, and I can look out across the water. And Gull Lake is in central Minnesota. And let's see, I always tell the kids the circumference of Gull Lake is about the same as the Sea of Galilee. And so that gives them an idea. Big lake, Sea of Galilee, most people think, oh, it's like the Mediterranean. No,
Mhm.
it's a big enough body of water, but it's a Minnesota lake basically.
Oh, that's a good parallel.
Yeah, but it's just a nice spot. I've been coming here for about a month and a half in the mornings, and just sitting by the side of the water because there's a little public access thing that goes down to the water, and usually there's nobody here, so we'll see if anybody walks down the hill here while we're talking together.
So tell us a little bit about why you go there.
That's a good question. Since retiring, I've been just noticing the natural world around us more, and we can talk about that later. But for subjects for painting, like gulls and trumpeter swans and herons, and I'll have to tell you the Poopsicourt story. Did I tell you that before? I don't think so. But anyway, and this is just a place where you can get close, and in the morning, if you're doing a morning devotion, or I like to prepare my Sunday school lesson down here, or just kind of get ready for the day. And I've started waking up early again. I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and
Mm.
Val still is at her normal, between 9 and 10.
Oh boy.
So I can be out here for like 3 hours and still get home an hour before she wakes up. So hey, win-win, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a pretty early natural time clock. I don't know if I could ever get up at 4:30. I mean, we're meeting today at
Yeah.
6:30 in the morning, people. So I'll tell you what, it's a little early for me. So I don't know how you
I
can do
well, the
that.
thing, after retirement, I still kind of end up doing similar things, but there's no ticking clock of when the next thing has to start. So I might spend an hour or
Mm,
two here,
Right.
whereas
mhm,
it used to
Sure.
be, well, you get 15 minutes and then this happens. So that's a whole different mode.
yeah. Life has a different stride right now.
I've let these things go
Yeah.
and complete their cycle. I mean, I'll probably not be sitting here every morning from now till the end of time. But like last winter, I spent mornings at a little dam coming off of Gull Lake where there was open water, and so the trumpeter swans would gather in that little
Mm.
open patch,
Oh,
and so that was my deal for a couple of months. And now, right now, it's Bishop's Point. And I like the
Mhm.
whole thing. Should I tell you what Bishop's Point is about? The Bishop's part of that?
yeah, I wanna know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
On Gull Lake, as I look across here, I see Holman's Point. This is the site of the first Native American cathedral in North America west of the Mississippi on Holman's Point. And a lot of the things
Wow.
like there's Bishop's Creek and Bishop's Landing were named because of the Native American church back in the 1800s. So that's where Bishop's Point comes from. And
Interesting.
it is interesting. They took that church and moved the whole thing to the White Earth Indian Reservation further west in Minnesota, over by Detroit Lakes, kind of. And that must have been a job and a half because it's a
Oh.
stone structure. I I don't know who got that job, but I think they
Oh
probably
boy.
underbid it, and then they decided, well, yeah, we're just moving a church. How big is it? Oh, it's this, and they didn't tell them. Oh, it's made of rocks, you know. But I'm just
Oh
that's I'm
my
just
word.
conjecturing that, but yeah.
Surmising? Yes. I'm sure
It's made out of what?
there was a conversation
Yeah.
But
eventually.
uh but there was, the scourging part of this is there was significant inroads of the Christian faith into the Native American community 100 and, well, what is that,
Mhm.
160 years ago. And now they're basically an unreached people group with like 2-3% of inroad with the gospel.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I Well, let me launch off into that because I got a whole deal about the Native Americans. Let me find that.
Sure. Love to
My
hear
whole
that.
life is still on index cards.
Well, that's good though. I mean, I like old school stuff myself. Hey, you didn't hear last episode. I had like 6 pieces of paper. You could hear them rustling.
You know what Confucius say? The strongest memory is weaker than the weakest ink. So write things down.
I like it.
That one I have
Strongest
to.
memory is
Write
weaker
things
Got
than
down.
it.
Yes,
Got it.
got it.
ink. Well, anyway, I have to think about that long and hard every. I should write that saying down. Wait,
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I think I really need to ponder that because it's a
but
little early in the
anyway,
morning.
Ron Hutchcraft has, and I can't remember if we talked about this before, but Ron Hutchcraft started this ministry to Native Americans, and he's a longtime radio guy, the best storyteller I've ever heard. And Ron has started let's see, he has a Warriors Ministry conference for young Native American guys and girls. And Aaron and I from the radio station went to see that conference as they were teaching them how to evangelize their own people, because there's such a divide between white American culture and Native American culture that Ron says has been put there by Satan. The
Yes.
white evangelicals say, well, what's the deal with these Native Americans? They're given all this stuff, and they're just living off the government, and what's their problem? And Native Americans want nothing to do with the white church and the white Jesus. So how do you bridge that gap? The only way to do it, according to Ron, is with the young Native Americans who have been affected by Christ, and help them back in their own communities reach their reservations for Christ. And so every summer he gets these teams together, and they go out and they hang out by the basketball court, and they start playing hoops with the kids, and then they bring in music, and then they have a speaker, and they stay there for a week, and it's amazing. It's one of the only inroads into that tight knit culture. Yeah, but
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord that that's happening.
And I actually, in my business, if I could comment, I've had several ministries that are centered around helping bring truth to the Native community. And so I do know a few things about that and how they are making strides in that area. And it's really getting back to the basics and really doing a wonderful job with the youth and the adults too. They are changing lives.
And Ron goes beyond that. He thinks that world evangelization, reaching into other cultures that are unreached, best happens through cultures like the Native American culture. Them going overseas and ministering to people in Palestine, much more effective than an old white Norwegian from Minnesota going over and trying to talk to them, because they identify with what that culture has gone through.
Sure. Yes. Yes.
And so he's saying, we're limiting the body of Christ when we don't develop all the different factions around us, which is, kind of kicks us off of our just meeting with the same type of people. And churches are pretty homogenous sometimes.
Yeah.
And look at what God has done, though.
Yeah.
We have so many different people groups in America that we have this awesome opportunity to witness to them, to tell them about Jesus, and then they can go back to their home
location,
countries and talk about the Lord. And so God has actually brought it here. We have a missionary that is in Indiana that ministers to the Somali population there, and we pray for them and support them at our church. And I just think that's so great that they don't have to go across the ocean to take
the world has come here.
I mean, look at the opportunity God has given us. This is exciting.
That's a really good way to look at it. Well, Phil, I want to ask if you want to talk about your painting now.
We can quick talk about painting. I mean, like we were talking about, I've been more aware of the world around me, and I didn't know when I started retirement that this is what I'd end up focusing on. But yeah, that's what it is. I started focusing on classic boats. I find it odd when you go into a furniture store here in Lake Country of Minnesota, and they're featuring, they've got nautical or water-related paintings because that's what people want in their cabins, and they have ocean-going vessels. Well, that's not, a sailboat on the ocean. It does not go with a lake cabin.
Accurate.
Or, I mean, not really. You need speedboats. You need wooden boats. You need guys with rowboats, or just I don't know. So I started down that path, and then but it also got into wildlife. I didn't think I'd be doing nature paintings, and I'm not a the duck stamp kind of painter where they have the very meticulously realistic mallards and stuff. So it's more an impressionistic, and you can see
Oh no, you're
the human hand, not photorealism. But I've been doing swans and gulls and snapping turtles and lately herons. um, and that's where we have a heron in our little neighborhood
Oh.
that the neighbors named Poopsicourt because that's he. Yeah,
Okay, we need
it,
that. We need that
yeah, I
story.
want to
It's
hear
come up
that.
it
twice
sounds
now.
like sort of a mid-eastern name, Poopsicourt, when you say it fast, but then you realize what you're saying because that's literally what he does on your dock when you're not looking. I mean, it's like you take a quart of white paint and just spatter it everywhere. That's Poopsicourt's deal.
Oh,
And this is a
Well,
crane?
I
Do you
thought
have
it was a
a
crane,
pet crane?
a great blue
Oh, a
heron.
heron.
And
Okay,
we've
it's a
been, but
heron.
just by observing, we've seen him. He's a lot of times he fishes by a pipe between Gull Lake and Hole in the Day Lake, which is right over there. I'm pointing at it, and it's the tulipy fish are in Hole in the Day Lake, and they come through the pipe to Gull Lake, and so he stands there for days.
Mm.
I mean, the perseverance is amazing. They just stand there, and then every once in a while, you see him grab a tulipy. There's a medium-sized fish, and he swallows them right down. But
that does amaze
yeah,
me how they can just stand there forever and ever. And sometimes is that the one on one foot, the
they
heron?
do
Just
stand
the
on
one
one foot
foot, or
once
is
in a
that a
while, but
different
most
bird?
of the time when they're in the water, they've got both feet down because it's a little dicier. But then they nest way up in the
Okay.
trees. I mean, Paul got a picture of like
Really?
a tall pine tree, and there's a heron standing on a limb way up there, and that's where his nest is. And I didn't,
Wow.
but they really hate eagles.
Huh.
They really hate swans. Swans don't get along with
Oh,
anybody.
yeah.
I mean, they're cantankerous.
I mean, I've never seen a heron. Like, has it ever gotten in a fight with an
I
eagle that you've seen?
Well, when I'm sitting here at the landing, every once in a while, you see there's an eagle's nest a ways down here, and whatever is on the ground near you, and the eagle does a flyover. It's just like warnings, and the crows go nuts, and the heron doesn't make a lot of noise, but they have this deep croaking sound because the eagles, kill
Mm.
them. I mean, they swoop down and grab the small birds and the loon eggs
Yeah,
and the babies, and go, they'll take a gull right out of the air.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're so
I figure you had a story there.
here's a little more story. So I was online. I was looking around on one of those apps where you look for subject matter. I forget which one it is now. So I was doing herons, and this artwork from some artist pops up. She's a member of the Artists of Galilee in Israel. They have a group of artists who are trying to help
Hmm.
each other in that area economically to reach out, which is very cool. And so I started talking to her online, and I said, "What? It looks like the herons around here. What species is it? Is it the great blue heron?" Yes, it is. The great blue heron, the same species of heron, is in the Sea of Galilee in Israel.
Wow.
And she's got pictures of
Oh my
Really?
goodness.
Huh.
her work, and so we threw stuff back and forth online, and she's going to be putting more stuff on her website. So, and in Israel, when people go up to the lake country around the Sea of Galilee, you know what they call it? They say they're going up north.
Oh, that is
So
uncanny. That is wild.
Just like us.
so I'm going to use that in Sunday school just to give people, or because you hear Bible stories and you think
Oh,
that
that's
everybody in
great.
Israel still wears robes and sandals. No, no, they have the lake country just like here. They go up
Mhm.
north from Jerusalem,
Yeah.
just like here from Minneapolis to, and
Mm.
actually about the same distance too. Well, weird.
That's crazy. It is.
Well, I did find recently, I talked to a Canadian and I said, "We go to the cabin. Where do you go?" And they said they go to the cottage.
Mhm.
So they have their
Yeah,
cottages.
Mm.
And I said, "So that's like your cabin." So I said, "Well, you bring our lingo to Canada and I'll bring your lingo to the
do
lake."
you know what the lingo is in Maine out east? There's a people where they go fix up cabins, and they
Uh,
always go to the camp. Whatever it is, it's a cabin, a house, or whatever on the lake. And
Wow.
ah.
it's, yeah, there's a guy who wants to fix up the camp. And I thought, well, what? You buy a new tent? Why is that hard? But no, the cabin in Maine is the camp. They're going to camp.
Never heard that one.
And I would say people here in Minnesota, when you say camping, in my mind, I think of tent.
Oh
But
yeah,
in
that's
everyone
a
else's
whole
mind, it's a fifth wheel
right,
or it's a trailer or
right,
something,
right.
or their ice
Yeah,
house or
yeah.
ice castle, you know?
No,
So
my son he had a little pop up camper, and he tried it a couple of years ago, a couple of years ago with a toddler and a 3-year-old, and he decided they weren't going to do that anymore. So, so now he's tearing it apart. Yeah.
We'll have to have him on with his stories.
best laid plans.
So that all of a sudden that was in our backyard for about a year, and now he's ripped it apart. So the pieces are in our backyard. We'll have to talk about that someday.
I remember having a pop-up camper with my
Yeah.
parents when I was young, like maybe 5.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I really loved it. I mean, there were so many, because
Or
it's the right size.
well, the kids love it too much, I think.
Oh, sure. Gotcha. Don't want to leave it.
I grew up camping with a tent that was from the 70s. We got it from a friend, my dad's
Oh, yeah.
coworker, and the thing leaked like a sieve. And it took like 2 hours to put up because it was so heavy. And I thought tenting was always like that. And then people would like go tent somewhere, and they were like, "Oh, we put our tent
Right.
up in like 10 minutes." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. How can
Yeah.
you do that?
It's not
Oh,
what your
good memories
equipment,
though.
it's
Good
who you're
memories.
with, the time you spend, and the memories that you make. Yeah.
Putting the tent up in the dark. Yeah, that was our thing too.
Oh, I got to tell you about every year on Gull Lake. Well, a couple times a year, there's these classic boat shows, and the one at Bar Harbor is the big one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in my mind, the other guys now are going to get grumpy. But anyway, the one at Bar Harbor, and the two guys that have most of the boats, like 75% of the boats, are Anderson. Do you know Carol? You know the Anderson guy?
Anderson. Yeah, I know about
His
them and their boats. Absolutely. I missed the show this year.
Yeah, well, he's got so many of them, and then Paul Allen has a huge amount of boats, and he's the owner of Bar Harbor, and so these two guys,
Oh, okay.
well-off guys, live on Gull Lake, and they're neighbors in Florida, and they've got all these beautiful wooden boats. Well, there was one there this year that the top half was aluminum, like an old aircraft, polished aluminum with rivets and all that, and the bottom was wood. And so I was curious about this, and I found out about this boat back in the 30s. Some rich guy had it, and he lost a race. He had won the race for several years, and then he lost. So he brought the boat to Howard Hughes, the Howard Hughes, who was making airplanes back then. And he says, I want this. I want you to lighten it and make it more streamlined, and I want to win this race next year. So Howard Hughes lopped the top off of this boat and basically built a aircraft body on the top, streamlined and light and aluminum polished and just gorgeous with this big fin on it. It's called the Hornet. It's painted on the tail, the Hornet. Yeah, it's got a tail. And so so it's very light on top, and the weight is down low, and it won the race he wanted to win for the next couple of years. Well, now Paul Allen has this boat, and it's just amazing to see it zipping across the water and that reflective aluminum surface. So one of my next paintings is going to be that Hornet boat.
I have to ask you, you said last winter you would spend some time down by the dam where the trumpeter swans were.
Yeah,
and
they're gorgeous.
My dad loved swans, especially trumpeter swans. They are very beautiful, and they mate for life. My dad and mom married for 52 years.
You can tell who the parents are when there's a family of swans on the lake, but they look identical. I don't know. I suppose you can tell a male from a female swan, but not from a distance, probably. So, but the male is always out in front with his head up, scanning the horizon constantly. And if you walk down to the shore, he will charge at you. I mean, full speed. I mean, it's kind of awe-inspiring. Have you ever seen them do that when they charge? It's like they run on top of the water, and they're flapping their wings, and they're and they call them trumpeter swans for a reason. They are loud. So
yes, they are.
Well, you'll hear them go over.
Yeah.
We call it a pond, kitty corner from our house. But growing up, for a couple of years, we had a trumpeter swan couple that would come and nest there every spring. And we'd always walk down to the pond to watch them. But they were way far away. They're like across the pond. So you couldn't really, we weren't getting close enough for them to attack us.
I'd bring Lucy the dog with. I can't remember if I told you this, but so Lucy and I were out stomping through the snow and down to the edge of the open water. And at first they were all skittish and would immediately go to the far end.
Yeah.
But then after a while, they didn't care. Lucy was right on shore, and this one swan came right up to her like 2-3 feet away. And I got a picture of that. And if I was stood up and walked down to the edge, well, number one, I didn't want to because it looked slippery and the ice was not. But if I got
Safe. Yeah.
closer, they'd back off again, but much closer than originally. And so now part of my morning drive is there's a little pond like you were talking about down the road here a bit, where there's 3 adult swans. I figure that one of them was probably a youngster, but it's pretty much full size now. So I think it's a couple and then a bachelor or something.
Mm.
And they're out there
Okay.
pretty much. I saw them every day for a long time. And then one day, nobody was there. And I got a little closer, and there was an eagle sitting out there on a sandbar tearing apart something he had caught.
Oh.
And then they had disappeared for a while, and the eagle kind of claimed dominance there. And now they're back again. So we'll see. And some of them migrate and some of them don't. I don't know why.
Hey,
I don't know why.
Hey, I want to do a lake check. We see
Oh,
that
yeah.
you're on location there. You told us you're at the Bishop's Point. What do you see right now?
Well, right now it's kind of hazy, cloudy. Let me try and point this. There's the shore across.
There we go.
And
Oh,
so I
yeah.
can't see Holman's Point right now. It's pretty foggy.
How's your color?
But
How are your colors up there? Are they changing?
they are changing. They seem to start early on selective trees, but not, yeah. And the vines that grow
I
up in
know, isn't
trees,
that
the
weird?
sort of parasitic vines, those change right away. Like, so there's a bright green tree
Yeah.
with bright
Yeah.
red vines in it. So that's kind of pretty.
Yeah, I've seen some sumac.
Val always, she
Yeah.
wants to get stuff taken care of when it gets close to winter. So she's all for, well, we should call the guy and pull the pontoon out. And, well, I think October is going to be a pretty nice month. And because I had one episode where I sank 3 boats one fall trying to get them out of the water. Did I tell you that story? I was.
Oh my goodness! What? Okay, here we go.
So Val was out of town.
Well, unless it's too much of a
I
hardship,
get
I don't want to do
reminded
that to
of it, so I might as well tell it with my spin, because I'm going to hear it eventually anyway when I do some other.
Okay.
There you
thing.
go. Your side of the story.
But actually, it was 2 jet skis and a boat. And Val was out of town, which is when 95% of these things happen. And I thought, oh, here comes a boat now. But anyway, I thought that I could take care of this when she was gone, so she wouldn't have to remind me. If I could do air quotes, I'm holding the phone, so I can't. But remind me anymore that we needed to get these things out of the water. So I thought, well, I'll just pull the jet ski over to the landing and walk back and get the truck and the trailer and, make a couple trips back and forth, and it'll be great. So I've got the jet ski on a rope behind the old Queen Marie aluminum boat, and we go out the channel from our little lake onto Gull, which unbeknownst to me was having gale force winds. I mean, just, and that's the way it is on our little lake. You can't tell. And then you get out in the open, and it's just these big waves. And immediately the jet ski flipped over upside down. So I'm pulling an upside down jet ski. Well, I didn't know what to do, so I thought I'd just keep going. Because turning around would have been a problem. Or what do you do when your boat you're pulling is upside down? So I kept going. And I thought, if I try to come back through this channel, it's just going to bang against one side and drag it. Well, so I kept going. I got over there. I got it to shore, flipped it right side up, but it was full of water. They sit pretty low. So I tied the boat up, and went to get the pickup and the trailer. By the time I got back, the boat had waves crashing over the backside and had sunk. And so the boat was only being held up by the rope to the dock. The bow was sticking out of the water. The boat was under the water, and the jet ski was under the water. It was not a good day.
Were there a lot of houses along the way? Because I bet if there were, there's a lot of people getting a lot of good entertainment.
I was really hoping that nobody was looking out. A couple of them had, I saw you that day. And in their mind, I could hear them say, that was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. But the dumb thing is, we're in the same position right now. We've got 2 jet skis still on the lake, and I thought the other day, I think I could pull those over to the shore. And wait a minute, I've had that thought before.
Wait a minute.
Maybe
I
take
really
maybe
just
take
go
a
out and
scouting
see.
trip, Phil.
Yeah.
30 mile
Yeah.
an hour winds is probably not a good time.
Is it calm?
Plus, you hear about the storms with Jesus walking on
Right.
water. That was on a lake the size of Gull. Those waves get going pretty good when they come all the way
Yeah,
across the
that's
lake.
true. Yeah.
Although maybe, that would really
That's
be
true.
exercising faith if I thought I
Yeah.
could do it again, right? You could walk on water or get your
That's right.
what?
Well, how does that fly? How does that fly with Val?
Oh no. Good thing she's sleeping right now when we're talking. That's all I can say. Well, anyway, didn't mean to get you on that tangent.
This is so good.
Oh, too funny.
No,
No,
that was
well,
good.
you're talking about Galilee. I want you to tell us a story about Sunday school.
Oh, yeah.
A good one.
Okay, let me find the Sunday school card.
You're so organized, Phil. I'm really
Well,
impressed.
no.
So, Phil, I have taught Sunday school, since high school.
Oh, yeah.
When I graduated, I started teaching 2 and 3-year-olds. And then I taught
Yeah.
Wednesday night Awana's program, the Sparks. And then me and my sister
Oh, I
ran
know
Sparks
Our
for a
kids were in
while.
Spark, and all the verses they
I
learned.
could sing all the songs. Yes, Sparks for Jesus, which was a great program. I was in Chums and Guards, and then I taught in Sparks. And then I've always taught usually the preschoolers. That's my favorite age. 4 and 5 is my favorite. And they're just a hoot. I love it.
My favorites are 4th and 5th grade because they are still excited enough about showing you things. Look what I did, and somewhere in right around 5th grade, as an art teacher, I saw this all the time. They go from look what I made to hunching over their work so you can't see it and not wanting to show anybody what they've made, because at some point they get overcome by negative comments and decide, well, I don't want to risk showing somebody. I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Well, you probably don't know this, Phil. One year I was teaching the 4th graders, and I was informed that you were coming back, and the only way you'd come back, I'm sure I'm paraphrasing it, is if you could have the 4th graders to teach. So they're like, we'd like you to go teach 3rd grade. And I'm like, okay. And I just love those 4th graders.
Sorry.
I'm like, but Phil is the best. So I get it.
I think at the time we were combining 4th and 5th.
I had a great time with the 3rd graders. They have the best creative minds.
Yeah.
It's just when you get like 15 of them together in a room at the same time,
yeah,
you really need a couple assistants
you
at
do.
that point.
Yeah. I've got a new group of 4th graders now. Let's see. This Sunday will be the 3rd week. So they don't know all my tricks and stuff from previous years. Like when I say, now we're all going to sit in one row, and when we do the songs and opening exercises, I want you to sing so loud that you wake up the babies in the nursery across the hall, or something. And if you do, you'll get. I bribe them all the time, candy or cookies or whatever they happen to have, and they are singing. And recently it seems like kids, they look at a video that is playing and they're supposed to sing that song and do the actions. 90% of the time they're doing the actions and nobody's singing, and it's taking
It's so true.
more than,
it is
in my
so
mind,
true.
more than half of the reason that you're even doing this is so that they remember the words, and you don't remember the words unless you're actually singing them yourself.
It's a great point.
I get them to, and I don't care if they're shouting and on the right pitch or anything, just to be doing that. Actions are fine, but they often don't have that connection. Like it's not Fishers of Men where you're doing the reeling in a fish. It's just a dance action that doesn't connect the brain to the subject matter.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
The more senses you use, the more connections you make in the brain.
Yeah. Tune in next time for more with Phil Kvamme. True joy comes through Jesus, knowing Him and walking with Him. If you do not have Jesus in your life, you can ask Him into your life by praying this simple prayer. Dear Jesus, I believe in you. I believe that you came to die for my sins. I have eternal life through you and you alone. I ask you to walk with me in relationship so that I may know you more and grow in the knowledge of your word. It is in your name that I pray. Amen.